Hey fans, welcome to episode 6 of Hangin' with the Z-Man. We thought we might be canceled by now, but we're still kind of going strong. So in this episode, we're going to talk about some products from Ware's Machine. My good friends up in Wisconsin, Chad Ware's, they build some excellent parts for these cars. We're going to showcase them and how cool they look. We're going to go over some questions that the fans have asked about different modified sanctions and the differences in the cars and such. And we're going to recap our past weekend in Louisiana and Texas. So let's get to work and show some of Chad's products, and we'll go from there. Okay, we're under the car here now. We're going to showcase one of Chad's pinion plates, and he builds a nice piece. Most of his stuff is anodized in black in color, which makes it look real nice underneath the car. A lot of racers are utilizing this style of pinion mount. What it can do is it's got an arc in it, and it has an arc right here, and it's got like teeth. So what you can do is you can adjust the J bar or panel bar, whatever you want to call it, up and down with just one wrench. So what you do is you just basically break the main bolt loose, and then there's a hex behind the J bar that you can take and just rock that motion up. If you want to take angle out of your J bar, like I'm doing here, you just move the J bar up in the radius. So once you get it set where you want to, say you wanted to move it about an inch or so like I did, you just retighten the bolt, just like that, and you're good to go. Now we'll show one of Chad's other products. His cutting edge product for the year is his new slider. We're going to talk about one of Chad's new products for 2013, something he just came out with, is a slider assembly. Basically, you'll see this underneath the left rear, but modified in most cases. Some people run them on the right rear. It's anytime you separate the spring and the shock, and you just need something to kind of hold the spring in a linear motion and not get all cattywampus underneath the car. So, but basically, it's a pretty nice piece. Chad come up with a real nice way to make sure the shaft doesn't bind. It's a linear roller bearing inside the shaft or inside the body. It's got a piston that keeps any motion, any rock from the shaft from side to side. It works really smooth. So it's pretty low maintenance. You just want to make sure after several nights or so you re-grease the bearings inside. Another cool feature about the slider that other competitors don't have is the ability to do half turns instead of one complete turn. So you can loosen up your lock here, turn your nut 1/2 turn onto the other flat spot, and you can do half turns, full turns, whatever you want to do there. So another nice deal he's got is he's got a Torrington bearing with a couple washers between the nut and the spring cup to make it so this nut turns really easy. He sells a nice wrench to adjust this. You can do it with load on the car, which makes it kind of nice. You don't have to worry about lifting the car up and down on the scales. Another nice thing that he has that his competitors don't is the ability to take the spring off in a pretty good hurry. You take this pin off the top cup, pull the shaft out. The cup isn't supposed to go to the ground, but you see it come off pretty easy. So that comes off really easy. And the spring just comes right off the shaft, and you can put your other rate on there and whatever you desire. And we choose to run iBox springs. They've been really good to us. You won't see anything else on the car. Their rates are super on. They're really linear all the way through their travel. They have a lot of travel and never really fall off in rate. So I suggest you give these guys a try. They're really on top of their game, and they're always coming out with new products to make their springs better. So just a couple of cool parts that go underneath these modifieds.
Hey everybody, if you happen to watch the video of my RaceWise experience, I talked about how bad I wanted a whiteboard in the shop. We're getting close, we're borrowing the conference room at Proline Building Company. And we've got our chart up here. Zach's going to talk about the differences between kind of the four main sanctioning bodies for the modifieds. A lot of people have been writing into the Facebook page and asking, so let's do it.
Well, I guess first on the list is tires. There's different brands of tires, obviously. UMP, IMCA, and Wasota all utilize a Hoosier brand tire. UMP chooses to have 3 different compounds that they use. Some tracks only require or only allow 1 compound. They eliminate, or 1 or 2 compounds. They eliminate the soft compound. IMCA always been G60 type tire. Used to have American Racer, but switched contracts and switched to Hoosier. But same kind of tires. They always had kind of a harder tire, harder sidewall, hard to get hooked up on the racetrack. Wasota uses a Hoosier tire similar to UMP. They call it a 35. It's a little better tire than your Hoosier G60 would be. Then USMTS utilizes American Racer brand tire. It's labeled the KK704 or G60 type tire. Also, these two share the same kind of compound or same kind of tread design. Similar compound. American Racer is maybe a little softer, a little more rubber to work with. Sidewall maybe flexes a little bit more, but all in all, the design of the tire is pretty much the same.
Cool. And as far as treatment, it's a big no-no to do any chemical treating of your tires. We won't get into that.
Right.
But grooving and siping, sand grinding, there's a little bit of different rules.
Right. Yeah, for the most part, the only one that's able to re-groove the tire is USMTS and American Racer. We're able to kind of do whatever we want as far as cuts go. IMCA has never been allowed grooving ever that I know of. UMP and Wasota have chose not to as well. But other than that, they're able to grind and sipe their tires as much as they want, along with being able to do it with USMTS and USRA.
All right, spoiler. Let's talk about the spoiler here. You got a few different rules on the spoilers.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place a little bit. UMP has always been on a 5-inch size spoiler. Always has. IMCA has always opted to not have a spoiler until this year. They're going to have this crate option. GM crate engine, which is a lot lower on horsepower, so they felt like they could give them a little bit of spoiler as a possible advantage. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see this year. USMTS, USRA modified rules are 7-inch spoiler with a spec cylinder head package. We've been on the spec type head for a few years now, and then 5-inch for any other alternative open style engine, aluminum heads or steel heads, anything that's going to produce probably more power than the spec cylinder head is, because we can do no porting of any kind to that head. So, and then Wasota is a 5-inch spoiler, just kind of like UMP, pretty set in stone kind of a deal. So
Here we got rear end, so the rear gear of the car.
yeah, everybody can run a quick change, as you can see, other than IMCA. They're still running the 9-inch Ford stuff, which is okay. Everybody's got that stuff that's running IMCA. It's more for your budget racer, I would say. You're not traveling around the road. For the guys that do travel a little bit with IMCA, it is in different size tracks where you have to change a gear. They're going to have to do a lot more work changing gears with a 9-inch Ford rear end than the quick changer rear end, because they're heavier for one, and there's it's just more time, and there's more things that have to be removed to change the gear and it's just heavy and awkward, and conditions aren't real nice sometimes at the track. So quick change rims have been my friend since they've done it, being on the road, traveling the series. So that's I look for IMCA to maybe do something in the future. We'll see.
If you want to see, they call it quick change for a reason. If you want to see just how quick you can change the gears in one of these, and you haven't seen episode 1, we cover that in episode 1. So next, RPM. So this is our rev limiter chip. Zach will talk about that.
Yeah, basically everybody has to have a chip other than UMP. They have no RPM limit. In IMCA, the crate option, like we talked about, I believe is 62 or 64. There again, I don't follow that because I run USMTS stuff, so I'm doing the best I can on some of this stuff. But we had good questions from the fans to answer some of these things, so getting as close as I can. But I believe it's 62 or 64 for the crate and 7,800 limit for any open engine. Moving on to USMTS, theirs is a little different too. They've got a kind of a range of cubic inch that requires a different RPM limit. Anything less than 374 cubic inch, you can run a 9,000 chip. Anything greater than 374, you can run an 84. Most people run the 84. But there are advantages to having engines that'll turn 9,000 RPMs too. So trying to balance the difference between cubic inch and RPM there. Wasota, I believe, runs an 8,500 RPM chip limit with their spec package. I think their engines are 360 cubic inches and no more than that. So.
All right, how about weight?
Weight on the UMP is 2,400. This is the weight after a race. You got to weigh a certain amount. There's no compensation for fuel burn off or anything. So 2,400 there, 2,450 for IMCA, 2,400 for USMTS spec. I believe it's 2,450 for open, or 2,500, one of the two, and then 2,450 for Wasota.
Just so the fans know real quick, how much of a difference does 50 pounds make to you? Maybe doesn't seem like a lot compared to 2,400 pounds, what's 50 more, but I know it kind of means a lot to you as a racer.
Well, you ultimately you want to be as light as possible, so yes, it is important, but there has been some cases where I have crossed the scales 50 pounds heavier, and that was some of the fastest races, the best runs we've had, so it could be a little head game, but ultimately it's still nice to have that baseline for sanctions to go by, and not have guys pushing the limit. But other than that, there's differences, and there's more differences in these cars than we've talked about here with bodies and stuff. For the most part, they look mainly the same. We're all using the same type of stub, front frame. Everything beyond that is tubular fabricated stuff, and we'll. I don't know if there's anything else you want to go over.
I don't know, I hope this answers a lot of the questions. Maybe Zach could talk real quick about, why you don't jump over and maybe do a UMP race or a Wasota race if it doesn't seem, the change of the spoiler and weight, why wouldn't you jump over to a class here or there?
Well, there's certain rules that are hidden and the rules that you can change, like USMTS, for instance, there's certain frame rules that they kind of let go that, the IMCA might let, or UMP or whatever, but probably this line right here is one of the biggest holdups. Is when you're mounting a bunch of tires and you got them on your wheels and you're set up to run this sanction like I am, it's a lot of work and a lot of money to switch over to a different kind of tire. That's one main reason. Spoiler changes isn't really that big of a deal. Obviously, rear end here would be a big deal. So there's a lot of guys that, especially in USMTS and IMCA, because there's a lot of races where they can kind of cross over. Most people have two cars, an IMCA car and an open USMTS car. UMP is kind of in their own territory more to the east of Iowa and stuff like that, and Wausoda is north. But if you're going to run different sanction, most people are just have 2 cars.
Too much expense.
Right.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to head back to the shop, and Zach's going to talk a little bit about his last few races on the road and where we should be technically tonight. So I think that's it for the classroom here.
Yep, I don't know if I was a very good teacher or not, but I tried my best.
Keep sending in your questions and we'll keep trying. See you back at the shop. Well, I hope you guys learned something today. Talked about a couple of the parts under the car. Talked about the cars themselves. We've been getting a lot of questions, of course, about that. And all the different sanctioning bodies. I think we did a good job of the basic explanation there. So tonight, technically, if this were a live show, we should be racing at the King of America. It's Saturday, and they're got kind of snowed and cold out.
Right. Yeah, I think they're going to try it again for this next weekend, but you just never know about this time of year.
Yeah, things are looking So anyway, tell us about your last trip out.
That was good weather. We had 80-degree weather and didn't have to worry about much. It was nice conditions for racing, and got to race at some tracks I hadn't been to. We started out in Texas, just east of Dallas. Had a pretty good run there. Locals are fast down there, but we got ourselves in the show every night and finished in the top 10 every night. So, and got that top 5 the last night in Louisiana. So a couple of nice tracks in Louisiana were, at Arclatech Speedway in Vivian. Nice wide, good racing there. Then we were at Boot Hill on Sunday and wrapped up with a good run. And we hated to leave the nice weather, but we got to race up here sometime.
You said it. Well, thanks for coming by again. Before you know it, episode 7 will be online, and hopefully we'll finally be doing an episode on the road. We got a lot of ideas for that, but thanks for the support. Thanks for sharing. Again, find Zach on Twitter at Zack Vanderbeek. Find him on Facebook, facebook.com/Zack Vanderbeek Racing. And you can also find us on YouTube /Zack Vanderbeek Racing. So that's about it. That's all I got.
Yep. Well, thanks for tuning in.